Paying off $115,000 of debt taught us a lot about money. But honestly, most of what we learned wasn't about interest rates or snowball effect or finding $50 extra in the grocery budget. Those things did matter, but the biggest lessons were about our spending behavior, our expectations, and the way we planned or really didn't plan for what was coming next. You don't pay off a massive amount of debt with one brilliant financial decision. You pay it off with 100 little decisions that individually don't feel like they're doing very much. And I think that's really important to talk about, because when you see somebody make a large announcement of how much debt they've paid off, you're only seeing the end. You're only seeing the celebration. You don't see the months where the balance barely moved. You don't see the unexpected expenses that interrupted the plan. And you don't see the times where they really questioned if all this effort was even worth it. So this video is not a victory lap. It's really just about the lessons we learned on our journey. Lesson 1, there's no single thing that fixed everything. I would love to tell you that we found one hidden secret that made this whole thing just magically go away. That we cut one giant expense, or we made one incredible investment, or we found some secret that made the whole process super easy. But it wasn't that easy. It was very hard and it was very long. We had to decide what mattered most to us. We had to keep sending money to the goal even when that money was a small, tiny amount that barely moved the balance. And that last part's really hard, because when your balance is really big, sending an extra $100 or $200 feels really meaningless. You make a payment, you look at the balance, and you think, that's it? After everything we sacrificed, that's where the balance is still at? But the math only works when you keep going. That's probably the most least exciting thing you'll ever hear, but it may be one of the most important things. The second lesson, a budget has to do more than just track what's already happened. You can't just look back and see where you spent your money. Although that is super important, you do need to understand where and how you spend your money and what your spending habits are. But looking backwards isn't going to change what happens next. You need to make a plan for what you are going to do with the money that you have coming. It is a different way of budgeting. It is not where did our money go? It is where is our money going? And that's the entire idea behind the budget blueprint. Stop tracking the past and start planning your next financial move. Tracking tells you what happened. Planning gives you the chance to change what happens next. Lesson 3, one of my favorites. A lot of emergencies aren't actually emergencies. Take the true expense calculator and find out what your true expenses are, because you can budget month to month all day long, but if you are not planning for the one-time registrations or the one-time massive bills that you have coming, you are going to end up putting them on debt because you are not prepared for them. The budget blueprint helps you build a system that makes you less likely to go into debt tomorrow. Lesson 4. A bad month does not mean the plan failed. Now, this one can be really hard. Life is going to happen. Things are going to creep up that you weren't tracking, especially in the beginning. I remember for the first few months of starting my budget journey, I would say to my husband pretty regularly, I had to add another line. There was another thing I wasn't thinking of. But it is crucial when you have a bad month that you do not let it roll into the next month. The more you live within your budget, the easier it will get. The more you use your true expenses, the more you will be prepared for them, and the bad months will be less and less and less until they don't happen. And not every month is going to be the same. Some months are going to be dramatic, some months are going to be slow, and some months are going to be protecting your progress. And all three matter. Lesson 5, the most aggressive plan isn't always the best plan. One thing I feel really passionate about is the idea that living on a budget has kind of a negative connotation in this society. But that doesn't have to be the case. I can live very comfortably and freely within my budget. And it's because I don't have the most aggressive plan. I don't want to simply only get out of debt or simply only prepare for my future. I want to also live. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy my family. I want to enjoy my time. The budget blueprint is not about saying no to everything. It is truly about living within your means while also simultaneously achieving your financial goals. Lesson 6, communication matters as much as the math. When more than one person is involved in household finances, you both have to be on the same page, which means you both need to work together to find out what things you're prioritizing and what you're not. You need to answer these questions together. What are we willing to change? What are we not willing to give up? How aggressive do we want to be? If one person sees an expense as unnecessary and another one sees it as really important for the family, that doesn't mean that one person is financially irresponsible and the other one isn't. It means you need to come together and understand each other's values before you make the plan. living within a budget cannot just be a budget telling you what you're not allowed to spend money on. It needs to reflect your values and what you want to accomplish. The biggest lesson we learned is that financial progress is not built through dramatic moments. It's built through preparation, assigning jobs to your dollars, preparing for expenses that are coming before they turn into emergencies, adjusting the plan instead of abandoning it. Moving money mid-month is budgeting, not cheating. Your budget does not need to be perfect, and your months do not need to be perfect either. You do not need to change your whole financial structure overnight. You need a clear next move, and when that move is complete, you pick the next one. So what financial move are you working on right now? Budget better, live freely, and I'll see you next week.